Welcome back, everybody, to the Kala podcast. We deliver campus news and provide entertainment for Honolulu Community College. Once again, I am your host, Chris. With me today is Alan.
Hello.
Today, we're being joined by Heather Florenda, financial aid manager here at HonCC. How are you today, Heather?
Hi, good morning or almost good afternoon.
Yeah. So, how have you been throughout with the past weekend and the weather going on here in Hawaii so far?
It's okay. I'm not a fan of the humidity, but I like the rain. So, you got to take the bad with the good, right? So, I'm
Right.
okay.
Any flooding or anything, any damaged stuff? Hopefully not,
Hopefully, I actually at where I live, no, none. But yeah, hopefully people were safe this weekend.
Yeah. All this rain really damaged the roof on my car. So there was a leak that developed, so I had to patch that up during break. So hopefully there's no leak at the moment, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking that summer will be here sooner than we hope because it's been getting warmer every day since the rain.
Yeah, hopefully soon. But anyways, so with financial aid, is FAFSA still open for 2021 fall students and 2022 spring?
Yes, actually, the FAFSA, if students still need assistance for this semester, spring 2021, we are still processing financial aid applications for this semester. I would encourage students who do need assistance and haven't done a FAFSA yet that they log on as quickly as possible, and they can do a 2020-2021 FAFSA for this semester. Also, it's not too late. We have not quite started yet doing the 2021-2022 FAFSAs yet. I wouldn't wait too long though. So if you are looking at coming back next semester, or no matter where you're going to college, next semester for the fall 2021, that you do your FAFSA as soon as possible.
So if students want to do their 2020-2021 and they paid, are they gonna get reimbursed or is it gonna roll over to the following year? How is that gonna work?
You can get reimbursed for if you've already paid your tuition. You've bought. Hopefully everyone has bought their books at this point in the semester, but we will still process your FAFSA and award you financial aid, whatever you're eligible for, and that would be a reimbursement to you for whatever you've paid. And for those who haven't paid, there is still time to get your FAFSA in so that we can help you pay for whatever you need for school.
Awesome. And what is the easiest way to apply for FAFSA?
So the easiest way is to go online to studentaid.gov. The link is on the school webpage under financial aid. They also have an app now on My Student Aid. It's actually been out for a few years now, but it's actually working really well. And so we find that some students have been doing their FAFSA application via the app. So if you have a smartphone, it's a free download, and it's pretty quick. I've actually used it. It's not bad. And then the last way, if you don't have access to any of that, phones, laptops, internet, whatever, you can come to our office and pick up a paper application and then mail that into the FAFSA office, and they'll process that for you.
And if students are having trouble, who can they can contact for help?
So they can call us or email our office. We do offer appointments via Star Balance, And so we do Zoom calls and we'll help students walk through their FAFSA with them via Zoom. So if they need help, they can just call, email, or book appointment themselves. And we'll do that. If you come in, we can help you with simple questions. But we right now don't have our the computer in our lobby. Might have FAFSA access to the FAFSA, but it's out in the open. We wouldn't sit with you. But if you needed a computer, you can come into our lobby. We have one. And I think there's some other computers on campus you can access.
So how would students know if they received their FAFSA? Would they be getting an email or an actual letter?
So most of our communication from our office is via your UH email account. So we highly encourage students to check their UH email account. I know some students, that's not their primary account, so they forget to check it sometimes, but that's the official school account that we use, and that we know that that's you. So we do 99% of our communication through there. So we will email the student once they are awarded financial aid. We'll also email them if we have any questions or concerns about their application or their financial aid status. It's all done through there. And the second thing is we can, once you've been awarded or your application has been processed, we post that information to your MyUH portal. So I know that also sometimes students don't go on there or go on regularly, but all your financial aid information is also on there. So you can check that. And lastly, you can always just call or email our office and we'll update you on your status.
So with the circumstances that we're in regarding COVID and stuff, and there are also other campuses. I don't know if here on the island, but I know in the mainland, some campuses are adjusting students' financial aid awards because they might have reported different things before COVID started. Is our campus or the UH system considering that as well?
Yes, so there's always been an option for students who have had a sudden or drastic change in their situation. For example, employment. Right now, that's the biggest, hottest topic, right? So in 2019 or 2020, a student may have been employed full-time, making a decent amount of money, and they had to report that on their FAFSA. Now they're unemployed. They've been unemployed all of 2020 and 21. They can come into our office and ask that we revisit their FAFSA with new information. It's called a special circumstance. It's actually always been an option for students. I think now, given the situation, what's happened the past year, it's just more common and more encouraged that students do that. We don't necessarily do it across the board because there's rules that the federal government has in place that we need to follow. But they have been more than, they have encouraged us to use our discretion to help students adjust their FAFSAs as needed based on each student's situation. So if a student is feeling that their FAFSA is really not accurate based on their situation, they can always contact us and get that process started. Also, some students the FAFSA may be somewhat correct, but maybe we just didn't offer them enough aid at the time we awarded them. And so students can always come in and ask, is there any more financial aid? What are my options? I thought I had enough, but I'm falling a little short on money. They can come in and ask, and we can see, we'll look to see what we can do, because sometimes money comes in after the fact, or we have other opportunities that have come up since they've been awarded.
So is there a like a time limit or a deadline from when they're awarded, or is it just throughout the time they're on campus?
Our time frame is normally the school year. So if you came from August through May, anytime between there, you can come into our office and ask for a special circumstance request, a review, or a additional financial aid review, funding review. And most times we're able to honor that. There are a few things like student loans can get a little tricky because there are deadlines with the federal government that we have to submit reports and process loans. So loans are a little more tricky, but we encourage students that as soon as you know, or as soon as you decide, hey, I need more money, or my situation is really, I need to talk to a financial aid officer, don't hesitate, call, email, make an appointment to come see us.
And are students still eligible for federal work study?
For this semester, it's a little tricky. There is still a little bit of money left. We are actually in the process of trying to figure out exactly how much, because we're technically midway through the semester, or a little more than midway. So students who have not utilized their work study as anticipated, we're going back and trying to figure out how much money is left for the rest of the semester. So if students want to or are interested, say they're already employed, they can contact our office to see if we're able to offer them some work study. A brand new student who's not employed yet, or who just did their FAFSA hoping to get some work study, that might be a little tricky because, like I mentioned, there's time frames, and the May is right around the corner, to be honest. So to get a job and start working and earning that work study money might be a little tricky. But it doesn't hurt to ask students. There's no harm in asking.
So since it is already halfway through the semester, are scholarships still available for this year's students, or do they have to use it for next year now?
Yeah, as of right now, there's very few scholarships still available. Most of them are like, we have wait lists for students who maybe qualified, but we didn't have enough money. And it would be, at this point, really a student is a late withdrawal, or we've determined that they didn't qualify, then we would give the next person on the list. But in all honesty, there's not. That scholarships for this semester has been exhausted. Also, the 2021-2022 scholarship application did close earlier this month. So students who missed that deadline, at this point, we wouldn't have you on any list, or any committee wouldn't be reviewing an application. But I'd encourage them to check back with our office at the beginning of the school year, because what happens is right now we have all the applications for the 21-22 school year. The committee's gonna review them. We're gonna see who's eligible. And by the time school starts in August, things can change. So we might ask for more, students. We might reopen the application process, or if there's a certain program that we have extra scholarship monies in, we might open it up to those students. So I wouldn't give up if I'm a student just yet, but right now you're kind of at a waiting point. I do encourage students, though, to look outside of the school, because a lot of outside agencies have a lot more flexibility, and there's a lot more of them than there are at school. So some of the big applications have closed already, like the Hawaii Community Foundation and Kamehameha Schools. But I know Aluluke, some of the like Kalihi Palama, some of Oha, some of those may still be open. So you just need to kind of do a little bit of legwork a lot of the info is online. So if you know of any community groups, if you know, I know some students don't live in Kalihi; they live in Kapolei or Eva Beach or Waimanalo. Those communities may have organizations that are willing to give you money to go to school. So you just kind of have to do a little bit of legwork. But at this point in the year, that's kind of where most of the money is still available.
So can I ask how do students know if they're like whitelisted? Did they get an email about it? Or
Normally not until later in the semester once the monies have been exhausted and we've did this wait list. Like we've done all we can. Yeah. We're really trying to improve our scholarship process, and for the past few years there's been a lot of changes, but we've had some new personnel at that oversees the scholarships now, and so hopefully it'll be more streamlined. And once things start kind of, I don't want to say getting back to normal, but 2020 really threw a wrench into the scholarship committee's processes, because we are all online and not in person anymore, and so there was a little bit of and we're all kind of we're on different schedules. So hopefully this coming school year will be a lot better. The scholarship program will be a lot more robust.
this is kind of more personal for the school wise, but did you guys see a rise in like the whitelisted students, or like an increase in the amount of financial aid submissions? Like,
ironically, no, we've seen decrease. So it's kind of weird. We think that there's a lot of students who, because of how financially the cycle works, we think a lot of students got too caught up in other things. So for example, and what I'm talking about is, so same time last year, spring 2020, students were in class, we were sending emails, we were doing things in person. We had an audience that was pretty, you were engaged in school. And then when the pandemic hit, the shutdown came, and everything was quickly moved online, including our office, the staff, the students, everything, right? I think a lot of students got lost in that shuffle and got overwhelmed by that pivot. And that spring of 2020, there was a lot of things that were done to accommodate, to help that transition. But in that process, it was really focusing on get through the semester. Let's get a handle on on COVID, right? It was all of that. And so things that normally you would start to plan for the future, like financial aid, scholarships, even just registering for classes, right? Students, that became a secondary, because they're really like, I just need to get a paper done. I just need to pay my bill now. Like those things. And so we actually, by the end of spring 2020, we were down like 50% on scholarship applications, FAFSA applications, registration was down. Student services had to work really hard on, hey, students, don't forget, you have to do your FAFSA if you want to come back to school. Hey, don't forget to register, all the things, right? And so I think by the time fall rolled around, people were in a little better place. And so we did have last minute pushes on applications, scholarships, things like that. We did okay in giving out scholarships and having applications. But to be honest, it was kind of an uphill battle. Now that we're in spring 2021, and we as an office and as a system have gotten a better handle on how to communicate with students online and how to get that information out. We have not seen as much of a drop in applications, but in comparison to 2020, that's not saying a whole lot. So we've had a little bit of an increase, but not a substantial. We're hoping that as this semester finishes and students go into summer, that they then take that time to do their applications, try and assess, where they're at financially to come to school. And the university is also trying to come up with ways to help students stay in school or return to school. They have several small scholarships for students who dropped out and want to come back, for high schoolers who may have thought that they weren't going to come but are coming. So it's been because of the pandemic, the shift in how students are deciding to come to college or not has kind of changed how we do things. So we know that there's a lot of needy students out there. We actually, I think it was spring and summer of last year, we did a urgent student relief effort where we had private donors that we were able to give out funds to students to help them pay for school, housing, food, things like that. Those funds, unfortunately, have dried up, but the federal government has come in with the CARES Act. And so throughout the school year, we have had funds to give out to students. There are a few strings attached because most of the funds that are given out have to be to students who are eligible for financial aid. So if you haven't filled out a FAFSA, even if you didn't get anything, if you haven't filled out a FAFSA, you're not on our radar to get those monies. So that is another reason to complete a FAFSA, even though you may not actually get any funds. But those we've had waves of those monies, and those students have, without doing anything besides fill out a FAFSA, students have gotten some financial assistance that way. And it doesn't necessarily need to go to just tuition or just books. So we know there's a lot of needy students out there, and we would like to help as many as we can. I think it all starts with students letting us know what their needs are so that we can get that out there.
And does FAFSA still cover summer semester for those who want to take summer classes?
Yes, we do. We are still doing financial aid during the summer. There's not much change as to how it's done versus any other summer we've done. So students still need to apply. We will look at their eligibility, what classes they're registered for. And so, in general, summer school is a little more expensive depending on the classes you're taking. So for financial aid, the amount of financial aid you get doesn't change necessarily. So your financial aid may not go as far. You're also still held to all the same standards as you are during the fall and spring. So full-time would still be 12 credits. We still look at your academic status, things like that. But yes, if a student wants to take 1 or 2 classes during the summer and needs some help, they can contact our office to see what's available. Also, we encourage students, I don't know, last summer was a little tricky. Hopefully this summer, programs have kind of come back and reorganized, but normally during the summer, programs like TRIO or the Science Department or the Hawaiian Center will offer free classes, whether it's a science lab or a math class or something like that, English refresher. So we encourage students to take advantage of the free classes or the refresher courses that might not cost as much as your traditional summer school class.
And going back to the CARES Act, is there an update on the third care package that just came in?
Yeah, so we are actually in the process of the money directly to students. We are finishing up giving those out. We have a small amount of funds still available that we're looking at which students are eligible for, and we can give those to. First, I know there's always a question, and there's been some talk in the news about student loan repayments and just in general student debt. So because of the state of emergency from the federal government and as part of the CARES Act, any student who currently has a federal direct student loan in repayment does not have to make any payments until the end of September. Now that may get extended because that deadline has been extended, I think, once or twice already, because the state of where we are still in a state of emergency with the federal government. It may change. However, we encourage students, if you are in repayment and you can make those payments, or you can negotiate a lower payment that you can afford, to go ahead and do that, because we feel that it is debt that you owe, and you don't want it sitting there too long. Some of us forget, or eventually you do need to pay it. So, but I also know there's a lot of us out there who can't pay our full loans back right now, and that's why there is that moratorium on repayment. The newest act that they've come out with a few weeks ago with the new stimulus checks, we have not gotten those monies yet. And to be honest, I'm not sure exactly how much that is or how that'll be administered. We're actually looking, because of the timing, that most of that aid will go to students for fall semester, unless we get them sooner and are able to get that out to students for the end of spring. But yeah, that's kind of the CARES, what the CARES status is. I'm going to be honest, it's always changing. Every time they send us a new batch of funds, or the feds update their deadlines and policies. So it's been a little tricky. It's been a little kind of a year for us with federal funding.
So you said earlier that students could, if they're able to, negotiate for a lower loan payment. So how does that work?
So if you are in repayment right now, you have your loan servicer. You can contact them and ask them the payment plan that you chose. There might be another payment plan that reduces the amount that you pay or reschedules how you repay your loan. So you would just contact your loan servicer. If a student doesn't know who their loan servicer is, they can contact our office and we can get them that information. And most loan servicers do things online now or via phone, not too much mail, there's definitely not in person, because most of the loan servicers are based on the mainland and do everything online. Once a student goes into repayment, we at the school don't have any authority over the loan. Even if a student feels that that's not the amount they borrowed, or if there's concerns about a loan that they may not have actually taken out, like, identity theft or something, they would contact the federal government, and we can give them that information from our office. But once a student leaves and goes into repayment, we don't have any authority over their loans. I also wanted to mention, not really with the loans, but for student loans, if you did a private student loan, say with Sallie Mae, Wells Fargo, Lending Tree, those are what we call private student loans. And those loans, you have to contact that provider. So Sallie Mae or Wells Fargo, whoever you took the loan from, and negotiate with them as far as, do you need to repay? What is your repayment look like? Some of them are following what the feds are doing. Some of them are not. It may depend on the exact actual loan that you have with them. But we know they're not bound to the federal regulations as far as, what the feds are deciding to do. Private lenders are not, they're not bound to that. So if a student has a private student loan, they want to contact their lender and talk with them about what their options are.
And then as far as the amount it's reduced, is it do you know if it's like the interest that they're paying or they're actually reducing the amount that they borrowed?
It's normally not the amount that they borrowed or the interest that's on the loan. It's normally the time frame in which the loan is being paid back in, or if there's grace periods. They might reduce the amount of interest paid, or waive any collection fees, things like that. But my understanding is they want the majority of what you borrowed back. So it's more of a, instead of paying back in 5 years, they'll probably negotiate 10 years or 15 years. My understanding, the last time I checked, I think students, and most of these are going to be for like graduate students, but a student can negotiate up to a 30-year repayment plan, which is almost like having a house mortgage. But some students have borrowed that much, right? I mean, some students have borrowed $150,000. And so, yes, paying it over 30 years is probably a lot more reasonable than doing it in 10 years. So, each student's different. Their loan is different in the sense, how much they took, how much they can afford to pay back, what their time frame looks like. So they just need to contact their loan servicer if it's a federal loan, or their lender if it's a private loan. I wanted to mention with the newest CARES Act, they have changed some of the SNAP requirements. And so students who may not have been eligible in the past might be now, just because of the regulations. So in the past, most students who were full-time students did not qualify for SNAP benefits or other general assistance with the federal government. Now they've kind of adjusted it to accommodate those people. So full-time students may be eligible for SNAP benefits. So I would encourage them to look into that. They can contact their HINET office that can help guide students through that process.
So can you kind of explain what is a SNAP?
So SNAP, the generic term for it is food stamps. It's called Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And so it's for people who, based on their income, are not able to afford, paying a lot for groceries, necessities.
So for that one, I remember we had like a really long survey that discusses those, like ask those questions. Is it the same survey? So if they did it, you can use that information, or is there going to be a new survey out? Or
it's actually through the Department of Human Services. So it's actually a state agency, and it's actually a federal program. SNAP is a federal program. And so the federal government has said they've relaxed the requirements. And so students who used to not be eligible might be eligible. So they would have to go through the application process again, or contact someone to see, hey, I turned in an application a year ago or 6 months ago, but do you think I qualify now? And you would just want to do that. So, or submit a new application to see if you're now eligible for SNAP. Some people qualify for like $50 a month. Some people qualify for like $200 a month. It really just depends. It's kind of like financial aid, but for food. So I would just encourage students who might need a little additional assistance to fill their refrigerator or get their kids fed. that they look into it. Like I mentioned, it's through the Department of Human Services, but our HINET office on campus works with the Department of Human Services. So if you might not want to fill out a SNAP application right now, but you might want to talk to the HINET person to say, well, how much effort or what exactly would it entail? And if what are your possibilities? And they might be able to give you a better guidance as to whether you should apply, whether you're going to be eligible. But really, any assistance helps, right? So, it doesn't hurt to ask or look into it. It's free, just takes a little bit of time. And I know sometimes time is, not everyone has a lot of it. So, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Well, thank you, Heather, for being on the podcast and answering our questions for us, explaining if FAFSA is still available and scholarships and whatnot. Where can students find more information?
First place is on our school website under Paying for College. That's all the financial aid, the technical, the basic information, links to how to fill out a FAFSA, what is financial aid, the actual application is all on there. If for those of you who haven't been on the school website recently, we do now also have a chat feature where if sometimes the website can get overwhelming or you have a specific topic that you're wondering about, you can use the chat feature and it hopefully will help you take you to the right information or connect you to someone who can give you specifics. So that's the first place. If you want to talk to a live human being or you have a question specific, you can call us 845-9116, or you can email the financial aid office at honccfao@hawaii.edu. The link to our email is also on our school website. And then also the link to Star Balance appointment is on our website. So if you feel you need to see someone, talk to someone, you can make us an appointment via Star Balance, and we have some of our appointment times up there. We also do a drop-in kiosk on Wednesdays from 1 to 3. And with registration coming up and the ending of the semester coming, and you just, you have a question, you don't want to make an appointment, it's a Wednesday at 1 o'clock, by all means, drop into our kiosk and we can do a quick, talk story through that.
Do you have any advice for students who are listening?
Don't give up. Keep trying. Keep, hang in there. I know for some of us, it's been a really rough year. For some of us, we've been able to adapt really quickly. But I think, we all just need to keep hanging in there. Keep doing what you're doing. As far as financial aid, just keep asking, keep, checking with us, and it's not just our office, there's a lot of other resources on campus. We have a Hawaiian Center that helps students both academically, and then they have financial resources they can refer you to. Our TRIO program, they help students with academic resources, but also they have financial resources that they can link you to. Our office, we do the best we can to get money out and get students linked to the resources they need. So it's out there. There's a lot of support. Our wellness center has a lot of good resources and references that they can link students to. So there's a lot out there. Students just need to kind of make, hang in there, contact people, reach out to these services and hopefully, there is a light at the end of the tunnel with vaccines, with all the things that we've done, the masking, the social distancing, is all helping and working. So hopefully by the end of 2021, things will feel a little better. People will be doing things more in person and not via video screen. But yeah, just hang in there.
All right. Thank you so much for that advice, Heather. And thank you again for joining us during this time. And really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk all about all this information with us. Um,
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate coming on and sharing with you folks and with your listeners. Hopefully, someone gets some information out of what I've said.
yeah, definitely. Okay, awesome. Thank you again, Heather.
Thank you very much. You have a good afternoon.
You too. Great weekend, hopefully.
Yes. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you guys again for listening to the Kala podcast. Just a few quick announcements right before we end this. Again, if you guys need to contact our financial aid here at Honolulu Community College, you guys can contact them at 808-845-9116, or you guys can send them an email at HonCC FAO at Hawaii.edu. They're open from Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30, and then you guys can also go through uh, Star Balance and make appointments there if you need to. Whenever you guys are coming into campus, make sure you guys wear your mask. And for more information, make sure to visit the website honolulu.hawaii.edu.
Registration is almost here for spring and summer, guys. Make sure to schedule an appointment with your counselor if you need help with signing up for classes or if you have any questions whatsoever. Make sure to use Star Balance to make an appointment at www.star.hawaii.edu/appointments.
The Student Media Board is hiring outbound campus media like the campus newspaper, art magazine, or this very podcast you're listening to. We're looking for website operators, graphic designers, video editors, and magazine editors. You can apply now by emailing hgcsmb@hawaii.edu.
Attention out there for all you creatives. Be on the lookout. The Spring 2021 Art and Soul magazine is in the works. Submissions for the magazine have since been closed, but don't fret. You can still view and submit your very own work on the Art and Soul website at honolulu.hawaii.edu/artandsoul/.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram to be in the loop for more HonCC events at HonCC_SLD and HCC Kala News. Make sure to visit thekala.net for more HonCC news. Thank you guys again for listening to the Kala podcast. You guys can listen to more episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Anchor. New episodes are out every Monday. Thank you guys again. See you next time.